All that's left on this season's project is to clean up and paint the fender struts, work on the generator and light, make sure that that works, and clean up the hand grips. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. We also have the hardware for the attaching the fenders to the frame. So we'll clean those up first and then we'll get to the struts. So the hardware came out very nice, and this side was cleaning up so nicely I thought I'd leave it and just paint the insides, where of course I can't get to, but the other side and the rear fender are so bad I'm just going to have to tape off everything and paint it. But let's add to our parts wish list a rivet tool, because it would be A, much easier to clean these if they were off of the fender, and B, I actually have a source for some new old stock of these, and so unlike this one that's bent, I'm going to have to fix that. I could just put on some new ones, new old stock. got the fenders hanging up in my paint booth, and I'm going to be using this Ace Premium Enamel, and the color is Chrome Aluminum Gloss. Used this before and it works out pretty good. So onto the light, generator and the light. This is a Soubitez, I guess, Soubitez, made in France. Start by taking the bracket off. We're going to give this a good cleaning, and then put a bulb in. There was a bulb in it and it did look good, but I took it out anyway and brought it to the bike shop to get a brand new old stock one just to make sure. I didn't want to get all the way to the end and then find out that it wasn't going to work. Taking these apart just going to be easier to clean everything. I will say that in the past, when I've worked on these old generators, I've had success. So hopefully the streak continues. And then this little clamp swivels over, the lens comes off. This, of course, has a wire attached to it. Not going to fool with the inside there. Clean up that lens, clean up the outside of the generator here. It does spin freely, so that's good. Schwinn approved. So we'll get to work on cleaning this up, and then we'll test it out. I did decide after all to take it further apart. This wire is soldered to the reflector on the inside. Then it goes through a hole back here and just pressure fits onto the bottom of the generator. And then the clamp came off here. This part seems to be soldered in. This would be the bottom part, the part that the bottom of the bulb touches. But anyway, I was able to bend it up a little bit and get a socket in there so I can take this off. Being attached directly to the generator, there's a nut with a lock washer in here. There's those things, and just able to clean it up a little bit better. That's obviously not coming off, but got it pretty clean. Actually shined up pretty nice. It's got a few, this bottom part has some pitting in it. But the top part really came out nice and shiny. I don't want to take this off. I think I have taken these off in the past, but yeah, I'm not going to fool with that. Let's get some Q-tips in there. Get some of that grease out of there. Peter Wolf from J. Giles Band would say, the moment of truth has finally arrived. So that wheel's going to be going that way. So it's going to point this way. I'm just going to touch it on this wire wheel. And there it goes. Woo! All right. Works great. I was just putting this back on the fork to make sure I understood how it went together on the bike, and hope you can see. So obviously that position is when you want the generator to be on, so to be rubbing against the tire. But there's a little slot, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, right there, so that when you don't want it on, you can push it up. There's a spring in there, and then that arm slides down and locks it into place, so then it wouldn't be rubbing across. And then when you want to have it turn on, you just have to press that down. You have to pull it with your hand to get it back up, but you just press that down and now it'll start rubbing against the tire. And the last piece of the puzzle is the black Schwinn hand grips, which we're going to hit up with some simple green. use the wire brush here because it's a brass wire brush, because my experience is that the toothbrush just doesn't cut it. Of course, that is a soft toothbrush. I guess if I had a hard plastic brush, might be better. Let's see how this does. Of course, they always look good when they're wet. Oh, boy, this is really dirty. May have to do a little bit heavier cleaning in the sink with some soap. I don't know, we'll see. I think maybe the person who put the grease on the chain didn't wash their hands, and then they went right to riding the bike and got the grease all over the hand grips. So that's it. We're completely cleaned up and ready to go, except for one thing that I have to mention. Way back in the beginning, I talked about this. This is the bezel for the rear fender reflector. Still had the bolt in it. Not much of the carriage left in it, the little square part on the bottom here. Obviously, the reflector was broken off, and then this press-on fitting tab that went on the inside of the fender, that broke apart when I was taking it off. They're easy to acquire at any hardware store, any local local kind of hardware store. I tried to source it. The upshot is that if you want to buy the whole thing, the bezel, the bolt, this, with the small reflector on it, this is a very small reflector. It is about 1 3/4 inches in diameter. Some of the later ones, I think, were more like 2 inches or 2 1/4 inches. Anyway, you want to buy this whole thing, it's $30. I'm not going to do that. If someone wants to buy the bike, I can point them to that source where they can get this, but it's not going to be worth it to spend that kind of money for this little item. So there it all is. Everything's cleaned up and ready to go for reassembly. Next time you see this frame will be the season finale, when we're putting everything back together and then showing before and after photos in the reveal. I haven't picked out any music yet for the finale, so I can't give you any hints, but thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you for the finale and the reveal next time on Featherstone Bicycles.